It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light. Today, I want you to consider a flock and their shepherd. Because we're going to talk about their relationship and why they're knit together, what they do for one another. As we know, the sheep is a very vulnerable creature. Nature can be very perilous for a sheep. When we consider nature and we look at all of its creatures, we see some fierce and fearsome looking creatures, don't we? Big sharp teeth, huge claws, big gigantic size. All of these things that automatically look fearful when you look at them. But when you look at a sheep, you don't automatically feel those feelings, do you? He doesn't inspire fear in you when you see him, because he's a rather harmless creature. You see that? And Abba used that creature to describe his people. I send you as sheep among wolves. Remember I told you about the fearsome looking creatures that inspire fear? Because your enemy is fear if you are love. Everything has opposite, and in other words, everything has its enemy. And the enemy of love is fear. So if you are love, if you are of that family, because what is God, little flock? That's right. So if you are of that family, being his children, you might as well call yourself little lovelets. Daddy love and little lovelets. Little love drops. That would be us as his children. Then our enemy is fear. But which one is stronger between fear and love? Well, what does the scripture say, y'all? That's right, little flock. Perfect love casts out fear. So when we become perfect in our being of who we are, without fear, then we finally have purged out the enemy. Finally have purged out that enemy. The spirit is life. So with love comes life, because love is life. You see? You inspire life when someone looks at you, because you inspire love in others by your behavior and the things that you do in every way. And many are offended when you are a true lover and you love everything about love. And one of those things about love is making love. And you're not ashamed of that. And you inspire that. You see? But you got haters out there like Michal, one of David's wives, who said, the king ain't got no shame. He just gonna disrobe himself and dance in front of the daughters of Israel. They don't understand. When you're a lover and you write love songs and you play a harp. You see, because you're not ashamed of love. You're not ashamed of what Abba created. Matter of fact, you're constantly fascinated and enthralled with it. Isn't it right, little flock? So he describes his relationship to us as a shepherd and his flock. Now, what does the shepherd do for the flock? He tends them and keeps them. That means to provide for them and to protect them. Do you see that? Now, he leadeth them to where they eat. He leadeth them to where they drink. Hope you can hear this, little flock. That's what it says about the shepherd. So I don't have to fear because my life is sustained through him. He's leading me to where I eat and drink. Eat and drink means life. You understand that? That's why Solomon said, it's no better thing than for a man living his vain life in his days of vanity. It's good that he have a good appetite and he enjoy well in his eating and drinking and make his heart merry with the work that he does. Because that's all he got in this world. You hear that, little flock? You hear that? So it's eating and drinking and making merry is what life is. You see that? You ever heard them say, you're the life of the party? See how these things come to be? You see that? Which means you're inspiring. You're inspiring us. You're the life of the party. See? Because inspire means to breathe into. What did it say about Adam? How did he get his life? He was breathed into. See? He was inspired. See how that goes? So our job is to inspire love. That's what he means about letting your light shine. The truth that you're a lover. You're to inspire love. And you don't have to worry about living while you go along inspiring love. Because he leads you to the green pastures that feed you. He leads you by still waters that give you drink. You see that? And he protects you. His rod and his staff, they comfort you. Now, what does this mean? Truly. Because you can understand it physically. That's why he gave you the physical representation through a shepherd and his sheep. Shepherd loves his sheep. He protects them. He will leave the 99 and go search for the one who's lost. He knows them all by name. They only listen to him. You see everything that Yahusha said as well. My sheep know my voice. I know them by name and I call them and they follow me. See how it all goes? So now, all like sheep have gone astray. Sheep is a little rebellious little dude. And it's because of his innocence. He'll run to danger he doesn't even know that's there because of his innocence and ignorance. You see? The other animals would laugh at that animal if you gave them human traits. So in other words, the animal kingdom would be laughing at the lambs and sheep. Like, you can't even take care of yourself and protect yourself. Y'all would get picked off every day by the wolves, the lions and bears and everybody else if you didn't have a shepherd. In other words, if there wasn't man. So Abba made sure to show you that, to show man should be compassionate. He should be tender-hearted towards those that are less fortunate. That's what it means. And Abba wants all to know this message today. You see that? That's what man was created for, to exude love, to make love manifest so that it can be felt and seen and experienced. But what does he decide to do instead? Fear. But my life, but my life, but my life. You're looking for your own green pastures then, it sounds like to me. Then it sounds like you've gone astray. You didn't trust the shepherd, did you? Because he is our life. He tells us where to go and what to do. So if you tell you where to go and what to do, then you've gone astray. Now, what does it mean spiritually? The shepherd is right thought. You see that? Which is all men do constantly, is think. That's what they do. That's the labor that they do all day. We're talking spiritual here. You see? So when he says, those who hunger and thirst after righteousness shall be filled, righteousness means right thoughts. You shall be filled full of right thoughts if you hunger for them. So the shepherd gives them to you as food, green pastures of right thinking. Right feeling is the water that you get when you drink it. See? That he leads you to. And it's peaceful, still waters. You notice that? That's the feelings. You see what I'm saying to you? It ain't stormy and waved all up or nothing. You're calm. Your peace be still. Waters are emotions. You see that there, little flocky? So that's what the shepherd is doing for you. Now, when you look at something, like the sheep was eating the grass and he looked over and saw a wolf, when you see that, you panic. And you just run or you do whatever. No, you look to the shepherd. And you're going to see the shepherd pull out one of these. I probably can't see it because it's dark. You're going to see him pull out that staff. And he's going to take off up that hill toward that wolf. And he's going to come back with that wolf's pelt. Okay, did you not read, David? A lion came and plucked one of my sheep. He thought he was going to take it. I grabbed his ass by his beard. And I beat him to death because I had a staff in my hand. And I beat him to death with it. A bear, she thought she was going to do the same thing. I had to club and dub her ass too. Shit. I had to club her. You see that now? Because she thought she was going to take one of mine. Nope, that ain't how that's going. See, he give his life up. He put his life on the line for his flock. That's what Yahushua said. So that's what the good shepherd does. All right there? That means he's a self-sacrificing shepherd. He gives his own life up to make sure you have your life. Green pastures don't do him no good. He can't eat grass all day. But they do you a whole lot of good. So that's why he leads you there. Because it do you a whole lot of good. You ever read where they say, Yahushua, master, why don't you eat something? That's why it's there. You see that little flock? Because he's making sure they're all fed. Making sure they have the things that they need, because that's what he does. That's his occupation. You see that there? So Abba's chosen ones are always shepherds. Did you read about Moses? Was he a shepherd? Did you read about Dawood or David? Was he a shepherd? What did Yahushua say he was? So then what is the grandson? All right then. Now, what happens with this is that the sheep give something back to the shepherd in return for all the love and tenderness that they get, which is the right thoughts and right feelings, which is how he protects them. You hear that today, little flock? That's how the shepherd is protecting his flock. He's protecting his flock with right thoughts and right feelings, because they're all living and he's telling them the truth about what they're looking at. Now think about Moses and think about what he did. We're at the Red Sea. What are we going to do, Moses? See? What did God say? Moses, why you cry to me? Lift up your staff in your hand. You're the shepherd. Lead them to green pastures. In other words, the promised land. See that there, little flocky? You see that there? Do you see that there? Like I told you, now they have a symbiotic relationship, which means a give and take relationship. They do something for each other. They got quid pro quo. They scratch each other's backs. You see that there? You should be able to see it, because I didn't ask a whole lot of times. But he's providing for them these right thoughts and right feelings. And on behalf of the protection and all the love and tenderness they get, they give him back something in return. And what is that? They give him wool. Sheep get sheared. They give him wool. You see that today, little flocky? Now, what does he do with the wool? He clothes himself with it, which becomes a protection and a comfort to him. Oh my goodness. Was that churchy enough for y'all? Because we about to talk about church. Now, in this world here, you have shepherds and you have flocks, which are church and congregation. Hear that? Now, the preacher up there would be the pastor or the shepherd. He's supposed to be giving you right thoughts and right feelings, or sermons, or teachings, or in other words, the word. And depending on how the congregation feels about the word he's giving, whether they think it's good or they think it's bad, they support the pastor. In other words, they give him wool. You see that? They give him wool. Now, how do they give him wool? He's like, we need a building fund. We got a building fund going on here, and we need to build another certain part of the church over there. It's going to cost us about $70,000. So you, little flock, if you could pitch in, isn't that what they do? Isn't that what they do? They have what's called a collection fund. I mean, a building fund, correct? Okay. Now, even when you don't have a building fund, when any of y'all were brought up in church, okay, because I was, so I was able to go partake and see what it's like. You see that? When I grew up, I'll just tell you guys my experience. When I was coming up in the church, you would go to church on Sunday. That was the main day, see? You would go to church on Sunday, sometimes on Wednesday, but mainly on Sunday. Throughout the year, you're going. Most of the time, sometimes occasionally you don't go, but most of the time you try to make it. You got family most time holding you accountable. You got other church members holding you accountable. You need to come to church. You need to come to church. All right, now when you come to church, there's always a part of the service. This is every week this happens. There's a part of the service called collection, offering. You see that there? And they would pass around a plate, called a collection plate. And the little flock or the members would put in whatever they, out of their living, they would put into the plate for the furtherance of the church body. Because ultimately, the church is supposed to be like the book of Acts church that says all things are in common. So you bring all your goods as the little flock together as one, and then you divvy it out to each other as every man hath need. Y'all can't deny that's what the scripture says to do, but y'all also can't deny that you ain't seeing it done nowhere you look. Okay there. But that's the way it's supposed to be done. So it's not unrighteous for the shepherd to feed the flock, to protect them, to tend to them, their hearts and minds, and them in return provide wool. See that there? Or out of their living. See, the sheep's wool is his living. It's his sacrifice for the flock, is his wool. And they collect all the wool together and they part it out as every man need a garment. Do you hear that today? Do you hear how I'm explaining it? Okay, good. So now, that was every Sunday when you went to church. You put that money in there, maybe 20 bucks there. Maybe you only had $5 you put in there. Maybe you had some extra money, you put $300 in there. Maybe you really wanted some financial blessing and you thought, well, if I sow more seed, maybe I'll reap more. So you put in thousands of dollars. Who knows? But you put in. Okay? Now, they passed the plate every week. You notice that? And nobody thought it was wrong to do such a thing. That's why they were putting their envelopes in there, putting their checks in there, putting their money orders in there, putting their cash in there. That's why. Because they didn't think anything was wrong with doing that. And you, as the congregate, would have seriously thought nothing was wrong with it if you were really feeling like the preaching you were getting was so good and worth it, and the pastor was such a great guy to follow after and let shepherd you. You see what I'm trying to say here? That's how all the people like Joel Osteen and T.D. Jakes and all them got them big mega churches they got. They speak to the feelings and they say feel good things to you. They make you feel good. They make you sow into their ministry. See there? Promising blessings in return. See that there? The blessing in return that the congregate gets is the beautiful word of truth that come from the shepherd. That's what his offering is. You see? That's his protection. Hey, I'm warning you about what you're looking at there. Doesn't the shepherd do that? Hey, little flock, stop. Bah, stop. Don't go no further. There's wolves over there. Let's go this way. That's what his value is. And then if one of the wolves come running over there, he puts his life on the line and he attacks it and kills it. And he goes back to the little flock and says, now what were we talking about over here again? Some false prophet tried to rise up and say something that didn't really make no sense, and I don't like him talking to y'all. I bet if you scroll way back on the Grandson of Right Thought videos, you'll see me doing that to several people, and I'm saying that. I don't want you talking to my flock. You can talk to all them other Bebe's kids about lies and about enter the darkness, and yes, this eclipse is going to bring about a sun magnetic change within us, and we're going to become demons, and we're going to take over the world. And yeah, people like that, I'm bonking them on their damn head saying, shut your ass up, don't talk to my little flock like that. Go on over there and talk to your Bebe's kids. You see that there? You can see it if you go back there. That's what he does. Now, what's the laying his life on the line? It's all the ridicule he gets when he talks against those people and they attack him. And they call him names and they ridicule him and they do things to try to make him feel like he's not who he is. And he just keeps right on going. That's what happened to Yahusha, because that's what happens to shepherds. You see that? So, not that I'm telling anybody to do anything right now. Okay, listen up, little flock. Not that I'm telling you to do anything. But I'm asking you all, would it be wrong, all of you who come here to the School of Marvelous Light, who care about the School of Marvelous Light and the furtherance of it, which means the growth of the truth that's being spoken here, that men and women would hear it, and that it would expand, and the little flock would grow? You see? Then would it be wrong for you to weekly put into the plate? So that the shepherd could have some wool? Now, what do I mean? I've been preaching for years on this page, consistently. Now, I told you, you used to go to church and put the money in the plate every Sunday. That's because you only went to church and heard the word on Sunday. But this preacher, this shepherd, is with you every day. He's constantly with you with the word. He's constantly giving you the word. He's constantly feeding you and leading you in green pastures and by still water. He's constantly saying things to you that calm your feelings down because of the truth. Imagine living in sin your whole life, and then you hear somebody tell you that the things you were doing were never sin. The sin was you thought you were bad because of what you did. That's the sin. You see that there, little flock? Now take the Father's name in truth, and that liberates you from the pressure of feeling like you have to be good in order to say, I am good. And that's the trick. I am is good, little flock, already. Christ told you that. Christ told you I am is good. You see? Oh, man. I am the good shepherd. So in other words, I could introduce the Father to you and say, Hail, I am the good shepherd. And he would enter the room. And you would be saying, he was talking about himself. That's what's got the world all screwed up. Can you hear that, little flock, what I just told you? I'll say it one more time, so maybe it can resonate for those who are maybe still scratching their head. Maybe they just woke up or something. Maybe the eclipse got to them. If I wanted to, let's see another way to say this. Let's see. Okay. If I was on a stage and it was a performance about to be done, okay? And I'm just the MC, so I'm just up there announcing and bringing out the people who perform. And then I say, now our next talent coming to the stage is the #1 hit artist, I am. And then another guy walks out. And there's some people scratching their head going, wait a minute. You just said you are. See what I'm saying, little flock? I just made it real silly so that it'd be easy to understand. Real kid-like. See that there? Muhammad Ali got his jaw jacked a whole lot of times. Got knocked down, beat up, everything. And a whole lot of people be like, Muhammad Ali the greatest of all time, man. Well, as a man thinketh, so is he. I am the greatest. As a man thinketh, so is he. If you take the Lord's name in truth, then what happens to you? People be like, he was the greatest, man. While they get knocked out by Joe Frazier. He's still the greatest, don't matter. Joe Frazier got lucky. You see that there, little flock? You see? A lot of people running around don't know the Father. I told you. I talked to a man one time. He said, what do you mean, I am God? Sounds like you're taking the Lord's name in vain right there and being blasphemous. I said, what is the Father's name? I said, what did he say in his word, man? Let's go read it. I showed him right there on the page. I am. That what it says? Yeah, that's what it say. So then, who is God? His name is I am. So then you have to say, I am God. So Skeetin' deedle dee, skeetin' deedle dee. Right? So back to the question. If you went to church and you didn't think it was wrong to put into the coffers every Sunday because you received a good word, and you thought this church needs to expand more so other people can get more of this good word. Well, if that's the case, then you didn't think it was wrong then why do you think it's wrong now? Because I'm not standing behind a podium? Is that why? Because I said fuck when I was talking about something? That's what make you pull the money back out of the plate? I was going to put it in until he said that. He must be sinful and wrong. No, he's the truth. And you've been so long without it that you can't recognize it. Ain't that what the scripture says when the truth comes? It ain't recognized or comprehended? Because you've been so long without a shepherd. Does the scripture say that about his people? That's what it says. So it's hard for you to recognize one when you see him, wouldn't it be? Okay, I'll give you an example. There's a child. The child is 3 years old. He's a boy. And he's the apple of his father's eye. His father loved him and gloat over him and dote all over him. He loved him. He's in his image and he loves him. And he's raising him. And suddenly that father is ripped out of that little boy's life. Now, when that little boy was with his father had long locks and a big black long beard. And that was the image that his son grew up in, seeing his father. Well, years have passed. And that boy has grown. Remember, he was stripped away from his father in some sudden way. One day he just didn't see his father anymore. And he wondered where his father went. And he was lied on about his father's character. And he was lied on about where his father was and why his father wasn't around. He was lied to his whole life about his father. But he had a slight remembrance of that image of his father, what his father looked like. But as the years passed, the boy grew and the father aged. And he no longer had locks. And he no longer had the same big dark black beard that he had. He had gray in his beard now. And he no longer had the big muscular frame that a man in his prime has. He's aged some, so he's not as muscular anymore. He's smaller, more humble. He's wiser. He's calmer. And when he returns, and his son has grown and he sees that man, maybe walking down the street, he may not even recognize that that's his father right there. He may walk right past him because he doesn't know him anymore. But guess what? That father never forgets his son. Now, I want you all to consider a scripture real quick that I'm about to bring to your remembrance. The scripture says, even if you forget me, Israel, my children, my beloved ones, even if you forget me, I shall never forget you. See what I'm saying to you, little flock? Love don't forget. The only thing it does forget are wrongs. It keeps no record of those. But you weren't a wrong thing in my life, son. So how could I ever forget you? I can't. You are engraved on the palms of my hands, and you are ever before my face. You are ever before my face. And no matter what happens, no matter how much time has passed, no matter how many lies have been told, I cannot wash your beautiful face from my mind's eye. I can't do it. You hear your father speaking to you, little flock? Do you hear him? His love for you is fervent. I will yet choose Israel, a rebellious, hard-headed little child that caused me so much grief. but he's mine. So I will bear all things for my son's sake. I will hope all good things for you, son, despite what you did today. And I will conquer all things for you, son. So come back to me. And I'll turn my face to you, and you won't have to walk all the way. I will run to meet you in the field. And I will wrap my arms around you, and I will take my ring off and place it on your hand. And I'll take my robe off and I'll put it on your back, because that's what a father does for his son that he loves. He come for him. He don't leave him comfortless. He won't do it. He can't. He is comfortless without his son. You hear me, Israel? The father is comfortless without his boy. You can't comfort him. It don't matter what you say. Can't fill that void. This is my beloved son. So I bring him back to me, and I meet him in the field, and I bring him home, and I kill the fatted calf, and I say, let's eat and let's party. Meat is unclean, don't eat it. We kill the fatted calf and we party. That's what we do, because my son, who was lost out there in the world, letting people that hate him tell him who he is, letting people that hate him befriend him and strip him of all of his goods and leave him in the gutter eating pig slop, nowhere to be found when he has nothing, but oh yeah, they're there when he has everything of the world, because that's the mark of Cain, the ability to acquire. That's what his name means. I told y'all that. To get. I have gotten me a man to get. And that's why they chase after getting. You see that? So love one another, little flock, with a fervent love that is unfeigned. That's not fake. That's true. Because that's the only thing that is of value, are things that are true. Think on these things. See that? So, as we go forward as the little flock, we have to always consider, if we call ourselves followers of the Good Shepherd, then we must do and live as if we have a Good Shepherd. And that means fearlessly, taking no thought for our life, because a sheep doesn't have his own. If you leave him, he'll be destroyed. So his life is his shepherd. So that's your life. And before I finish this message, he says, well, let's start it like this. Peter says, Yahusha, I noticed that fig tree that you spoke to earlier, it withered and dried up. How did you do that? And Yahusha says, if you have faith, that's what he says. Now he says some more stuff, but I want to stop right there. I want to stop right there. What is faith? The substance of the thing hoped for, evidence not seen. So if you have that, the substance, you see, because you're hoping for something. So all I would ask is, what do you hope for? And then if you were to tell me, watch how this goes. If you were to come to me and say, grandson, I have a hope for something, I would say, what do you hope for? And then you would tell me what you hope for. And then I would direct you to the substance. And then once you partook of the substance and become one with the substance, then now you're exhibiting faith. Now Christ said, now back to Christ. Christ said, if you have faith, you shall say to this mountain, be uprooted and cast to the sea, and it shall be done. And anything whatsoever that you ask, it shall be done unto you. If you have faith. That's the key. So now I just got a nugget of wisdom that told me, It doesn't matter what it is. So when you tell me about what you want, the reason you don't have it is because of all the reasons in your mind that you don't think you can have it. So I'm here to set you free by showing you the substance that you do have it. Because that's how you have it, is having the substance. If you have faith, see that there? So if I just say to you, have faith, but I don't show you how to get the substance, and you don't know how to get the substance, then I haven't told you anything. It's like when Yahusha said, what good is it to say, be blessed, brother, and yes, be warmed, and don't give them the things that are needful when you have it to give it. See what I'm saying there, little fly? Not hard to be understood. It's real easy to be understood, if you ask me. When love is leading you, everything that he said become easy to be understood. When love is leading. See that there, little flock? Y'all see how this is going? It ain't hard. It's always going to boil down to love and what you're doing for one another and how you're taking care of one another. Or else the scriptures wouldn't even mention all things in common. And they were all in one accord in one place. And the Spirit came upon them. How come it didn't come upon nobody else? Why did it only come upon the ones that were in one accord in one place? Why is that? If you want what they got, wouldn't you inquire as to how? See that there? That's what I mean about faith. Somebody says, have faith. You should say, well, what is faith? It's the substance of the thing hoped for, evidence not seen. So what do you hope for? Well, let's make something very simple. I really just want a pair of shoes, man, this particular pair. Using that as an example. I would say you hope for a pair of Nikes. He's like, yeah, man, Air Force Ones, all white crispy boys. Okay. Now, the substance is, how would you feel if you had them? How would I feel if I had? I will feel like this. The why you feel, how would you feel if you had it is why you want it. I don't know if y'all can't hear the wisdom here at the School of Marvelous Light. Can you? Maybe you can't comprehend it or something. Maybe TikTok is more interesting than hearing the facts of life, how things actually operate. I'm telling you how they actually do because I set captives free. I don't lie about that. I told you only a free man can set a captive free. Is that correct? Okay, then. So I must know what I'm talking about in order to say it to you. Because Paul says, don't speak about a matter that you haven't circumspectly understood. Like the word circumcise means to go all the way around. So if you speak about something, you better understand it completely and all the way around before you open your mouth to speak. That's what I do. See that there, little flock? So when I say have faith, I understand it completely or else I wouldn't give you that advice. I know it worked. That proves I love you. A father is working on a car with his son. The father has been working on cars his whole life and he's old now and is very adept at it. His son's just now learning. So there's a trick that his son could do to make his job a whole lot easier, but he doesn't know it. The father don't tell his son because he don't love him. He don't care. So he don't tell him. The son's struggling and hurting himself and getting injuries and everything. And the father just keeps sitting there letting him just keep on going. And he has this duping delight little smirk on his face because he knows the right way to do it. He just won't tell his son. But if a father loves his son, he says, come over here, son, let me show you. The son doesn't even have to ask him. He says, let me show you a little trick right here. See how easy that was? Yeah, thanks, Dad. That's right. Son's like, man, my dad must love me, man. Make my life easy for me. Well, peace and still means ease. My yoke is easy. That's the exact word that he used. So I'm easy. All right, now, don't give me this singing out here in the Detroit streets of Motown. Of Motown. All right, now. Don't give me this singing Commodores out here in Motown. Lionel Richie. Y'all hear me today, little flock? So that's it, man. That's it. Love. Keep coming back to it because it ain't nothing else to talk about, is it? Nope. The evil ones don't love their brother. It's that simple. You could try to decorate it all up and everything. Y'all love decorating stuff so much. You could try to complicate it all you want and add on stuff to it. It's easy to me. All they care about is gain. That's all they care about. That's why the Most High said, woe unto you, rich. Woe. It is harder for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter into heaven. Because in order to get rich, you have to acquire. I hope you hear that. What does Cain mean? To get, to acquire. So in order to buy and sell, you have to have his mark. Hope you hear it, little flock. Maybe you don't. Why couldn't David build the temple? Watch when you find out why he couldn't. It got a little sinister there at the end because when the person saw what it was, they said, wow, I didn't know that. That's why David couldn't build the temple. Solomon did. Yeah, and I'm not going to tell you guys why. I want you to go look and find out why. What did Zipporah call Moses? While you're looking up the thing about David, look that up too while you're looking. What did the people say about Yahushua when he said, you have to drink my... Y'all be blessed tonight, little flock. Hope y'all can receive that message and understand it. That it's a give and take relationship. That's what righteousness is. Remember, he hates the workers of iniquity. Iniquity means unbalanced. So it's not balanced for you to receive from the pastor at the church. He comes there, preaches the word, has studied to show himself approved, and you don't give him no wool. It's not right. The workman is worthy of his hire. It's fair. And he said, don't defraud a man of his wages when he has worked for thee, but pay him quickly. Shit, the work got done, so pay him. Why does Abba always stress that? And why does he say don't work usury? Why does he say these things? If it's not about fairness and equity and all things in common. If someone gives you something, give them something back. That's not what you teach your children. If someone says thank you, say you're welcome. If someone gives you something, say thank you. If you offend someone, step on their foot, apologize. There's a give and take thing there that keeps it balanced, that keeps it cool. Step on somebody's foot and say, oh, excuse me, but I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Okay. You've balanced it. See what I'm trying to say here? It works that way with everything. But the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. If you ain't never heard of no iniquity, that's it. The Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. The man who come to bring comfort, truth, love, and himself as a sacrifice don't have nowhere to lay his own head. So that ain't right, is it? All right then, little flock. Silawam Israel.